So this is the new Galaxy S25 Edge, and this phone has been stirring up the internet, causing lots of controversy, having people ask, what is the point of this phone? Is it too expensive? Is the battery good enough? And who is it for? For the last month, I have been dailying the S25 Edge. I took the SIM card out of my S25 Ultra, put it in here, and have been using this phone every single day to help answer some of those questions. So welcome to my 30-day review of the Galaxy S25 Edge. So let's start things off with the design. Now, there's nothing special to it aside from the obvious. This is a really slim and light phone, and I think the main selling point here is the shock value of holding this in your hand for the first time. Samsung is really pushing the narrative of just how slim this phone is, and even during the initial briefing that I was invited to, they really kept pushing how you need to communicate to your audience that this is just something that they have to physically feel and should go down to a Samsung store and just hold it in their hands. Now, for somebody like me who uses the Galaxy S25 Ultra, there definitely was that initial wow moment when I switched over to the S25 Edge just because of how slim and light this is. But I think if you're somebody who maybe doesn't have an iPhone 16 Pro Max or the S25 Ultra and you have maybe just a regular smaller phone, you really lose a lot of that shock factor because this phone isn't that much smaller than those regular phones. So you're not going to feel as big of a transition, which is kind of like Samsung's main selling point. Now, my wife uses an iPhone 16 Pro Max, and I let her hold this phone to get an initial impressions from her, and interestingly, she said that it feels cheap because of how light it is, which is definitely the opposite of the narrative that Samsung wants you to think, especially at this price point. But personally, after my 1 month with this phone, I can say that the build quality is definitely tough. It's enough to survive every day. Obviously, if you put a lot of weight on it or you sit on it, you can probably dent it, but it's well built enough that I don't think it should be a major concern that this phone will easily bend. It's got IP68, which is good enough. You can submerge it in water, take it to the shower if you like to do that. We get nice symmetrical bezels, stereo speakers, and overall a pretty premium feeling device for today's standards. Now, when it comes to the display, we really don't need to doubt Samsung here. They make some of the best displays, and we get a 6.7-inch 120Hz QHD Plus AMOLED display, which looks amazing. Unfortunately though, no anti-reflective display like we have on the S25 Ultra, which we all know by now is one of the best things that they've brought to the S25 Ultra, and I think it would have been really great to have it here on the S25 Edge, especially at this price point. And I will be honest, using this phone out in bright daylight, it is a little bit harder to see the display. I've really gotten used to that S25 Ultra with the anti-reflective technology, and it really does make a big difference, and unfortunately, we just don't have it here on the Edge. Now, when it comes to performance, no compromise here. Samsung has slapped the latest Snapdragon 8 Elite chip in here, same as the rest of the S25 lineup. Although since the phone is slimmer, there is less adequate heat dispersion here, so it is going to throttle a little bit faster during sustained peak performance. And I found that as I was testing this over the month, when I use this phone in direct sunlight, it does get really hot to the touch. I was out during the day taking some photos and videos just to test the cameras on here, and this phone ended up getting really hot. It never got to the point where I couldn't use it anymore and it was shutting down, but it's clear that heat management on here is definitely a bit of a compromise. Nothing that's too unusual for a form factor like this, but definitely something to keep in mind. Other than that, no issues with performance, fast chip, fast display, smooth One UI 7 experience in here. And aside from that heat management, you're really not going to notice a difference between the Edge and something like the S25 Ultra when it comes to day-to-day performance. Now, this is where things get controversial. This phone has a 3900 mAh battery, which makes it 100 less than the base S25, which has a small display and a full HD display, not QHD+. So the S25 Edge has demanding specs, but not really the battery to keep up with them. And a lot of people are asking if the battery is even good enough to get through a day's worth of use. And it seems like a complete miss on Samsung's end to include silicon carbon batteries in here because we have the technology to make smaller batteries last longer, and battery life next to cameras is one of the most important things that people look for when purchasing a phone, and I can't help but feel like that would have been the perfect technology to put into this phone. Now, if you are looking to purchase this phone and battery life is a bit of a concern to you, I will say that using this phone over the last month after the initial kind of break-in period, once the phone has learned my routines and the battery has been optimized, I have actually been getting really good battery life out of here. Depending on what I'm doing with this phone, I get anywhere between 4 to around 6 hours of screen on time, which is definitely really impressive. You can see here on the screen recording, I started the day at 96% battery life, and I finished it off with 11% at around 11:20 p.m. and it's showing 5 hours and 42 minutes of screen on time, which is definitely really impressive. And I'm not even using any battery saving precautions on here. I have this phone in QHD plus resolution, 120 Hz refresh rate, but I will mention that if you're going to be traveling and using roaming and taking a lot of photos and videos on your trip, you're definitely going to burn through this battery before your day ends. But thankfully, we live in a time where we have a lot of solutions to these problems, like being able to charge your phone in the car or take portable power banks with you, and you can charge your phone on the go wherever you are. So while I would like to have seen that carbon silicon tech in here just to get a little bit more battery life out of here, I can say that for the regular everyday person who is not a tech nerd, who is not a power user, who is not pushing their phone to the absolute limits, this is definitely good enough for the majority of casual users, and this battery is going to get you through the day. Now, if you do want to squeeze a little bit more battery out of your phone, there's a few settings that you can change. Now first, go into your phone settings, tap on display, and if you're using your phone in light mode, be sure to change it to dark mode, because these are OLED displays and any pixels that are black are completely off, and your phone will not use any battery to power that part of the display. And as you're using your phone throughout the day, this can definitely add up and save you lots of battery life. Now back in the display settings, if you go to screen resolution, you can change it back to full HD 1080p, and that's going to save you a little bit of battery life. If you don't really notice the difference between full HD and QHD plus, then definitely set it to full HD, and that's going to use less battery to power your display. Now over this last month, there has been one thing that has consistently been in the top 3 things that has eaten the most battery life, and that is the always on display. So one thing that you can do to improve that is go into your phone settings, tap on lock screen and always on display, tap on always on display, go to when to show and change it from always to tap to show. And this way it's going to save you a lot of battery life. And if you ever want to see the time, or if you have any notifications or the date, you can just tap on your display. The always on display will turn on for a few seconds, you'll get the information you want, and then it'll turn off again to save you battery life. Now when it comes to the cameras, they've taken the same 200 megapixel main camera straight from the Galaxy S25 Ultra and put it on the S25 Edge. And for the ultra wide, we have the same 12 megapixel lens that you have on the S25 and S25 Plus. And obviously no telephoto lens on here, so you're not going to be able to take those really far zoom shots like the Galaxy S25 Ultra. And I'll share some of the photos that I've taken over the last month with this phone. They really do not disappoint. This is a very capable camera system, and you can see that the photos do look really good. And just to keep it real, these photos are completely unedited, straight out of the camera of the Galaxy S25 Edge. Generally, I've found that I am very confident in using this camera in any scenario, whether it's in broad daylight or in low light. The edge detection on portrait mode is amazing. The dynamic range and exposure is really good. The colors are very natural, and even in low light, it's able to catch pretty good photos even when there's movement in the subject. And the Edge has the exact same video capabilities as the S25 Ultra, so you can shoot up to 8K 30 or even 4K 120 FPS to get that really smooth, buttery slow motion footage. You are of course also able to shoot in a log profile and then bring that into some kind of software editor and just color grade that yourself, or for simplicity's sake, if you want, you can allow the phone to color grade it for you. Now, when it comes to software and AI, I'm not going to dive too deep into this. There's just way too much to talk about, but just generally using this phone over the last month with One UI 7, this has been a very good software update. I have had absolutely zero bugs come up. The whole One UI 7 experience has been very smooth, and I do enjoy it. And as for AI, we of course have all of the same features that you would expect, like audio eraser. We have automatic slow motion on videos where you can just tap on a video and it will slow it down even if that video was not shot in a higher frame rate. It just looks really amazing. Samsung did a really great job with this. We also have AI eraser, which is definitely one that I use very often as I'm taking pictures of the family when we go out and about. I can just remove any unwanted people in the photos, and Samsung does a really great job with the generative AI to fill all of those missing pieces. And of course, circle to search, which is one that I use pretty often, especially when I'm walking around in the real world. I can just pull out my camera, invoke circle to search, and search for anything that I see in real life. And of course, the ability to identify music is really cool in here. And let's not forget about Gemini. The fact that Gemini works in tandem with Bixby is really great because it allows you to take cross-application actions. So you can look up a schedule of some kind of sporting event and then have Bixby added to your calendar or as a reminder for later. So definitely AI is one of those things that maybe you don't need it, but even if there's one feature on here that makes your life a little bit easier, then it's already done its job. And as much as people are bashing on Galaxy phones lately, whether it's the S25 Ultra, how it hasn't really changed much, or the S25 Edge with all the controversies of this phone, I honestly have never had a better experience experience with the Galaxy phones than the latest S25 lineup. Samsung has really come a long way, done a great job with this, and of course they're now offering up to 7 years of support, so this is definitely a great time to be a Galaxy owner. So now let's talk about why Samsung created the S25 Edge and who this is for. Well, they created it because obviously there is a need for it. Samsung knows its audience better than any of us, and if they made this phone, then obviously there is a buyer for this phone. And I think that the progression of the Galaxy purchasing cycle isn't necessarily S25, S25 Plus, S25 Edge, and then S25 Ultra, whereas I think that the S25 Edge is meant to be as an alternative to the S25 Ultra for people who want a really premium, nice looking phone, but don't want the extra features like the S Pen, maybe don't take zoom photography and they don't need the telephoto camera, and don't want a really heavy, bulky phone and want something that's more sleek and slim. And that is who the S25 Edge is for.